Oh, good morning. It's the day after Christmas. I hope you had a great, wonderful Christmas. And we still have New Year's coming up. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year still in effect. December 26, 9:34 in the morning here in Western Iowa. Big changes heading our way. So don't let the warmth fool you. This is January 8th at noon Central Time, and you see single digits here in Iowa, into Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio, Pennsylvania, single digits in Michigan, below zero, Wisconsin, Minnesota, up into North Dakota. So the cold air is coming. We got mid 20s all the way down into the mid South. So just be aware, get mentally prepared that winter is on its way. But we have some more pressing concerns. Severe weather today is likely. East Texas, down along the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, almost up to Little Rock, our slight chance of severe weather with the marginal risk in the dark green around that, including Big D down the I-35 corridor. Will there be tornadoes? Probably. 5% risk, including you, Houston, and into Shreveport in the brown there, and east of Dallas, and the 2% in the green around that. So definitely be aware of your weather as you go through the day if you live in this area or visiting. And then tomorrow, severe weather continues with a marginal risk into Louisiana, Mississippi, a little bit of Alabama. And then tornado chance is there for tomorrow, just a 2% chance, but still pay attention, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. And then Saturday, the severe weather continues across the south. Too far out for the Storm Prediction Center to give us a percentage of tornadoes, but we're still looking at a slight risk of severe weather, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi. So heads up in the south the next couple, 3 days. Anomalous temperatures out there right now. It's warm for this time of year, above average. Pretty much everyone's slightly below average along the East Coast. And it's a little cooler than yesterday along the East Coast. A little cooler also Four Corners all the way up through the Rockies into the northern plains. Everyone else a little bit warmer than this time yesterday. And those current temperatures, pretty warm in the plains all the way up into the Midwest. We have mid-30s here with fog here in Iowa. 40s for Illinois, day after Christmas. Kind of crazy. To get kind of cold, you need to get up into the Northeast. We see some teens there in eastern New York up through the rest of northern New England. Dew points are high as well, as the Gulf of Mexico is open for business. Mid 60 dew points for Houston, but you see 50s all the way up into Arkansas, and those dew points here in Iowa, we have a temperature of 35 and a dew point of 35 and a visibility of 2.5 miles. So that moisture is pretty far north, and that's why I think we're going to see that weather, of course, that severe weather for the southeast as we have low pressure system moving in and cooler air moving into that warm, moist air, and that clashes. Almost like a springtime setup. All right, hazards across the country right now. You see all that fog in the center of the country with that Gulf moisture. And in Wisconsin, we have a chance for some ice today, enough for a winter weather advisory, including Green Bay. In the west, it's a bunch of winter storm warnings, especially higher elevations, winter weather advisories all around that, and wind issues too with wind advisories and high wind warnings as another system moves onshore in the Pacific Northwest, dumping lots of rain along the coast, a couple inches of rain, Northern California all the way up through the Washington coast. And then for the next 2 days of rain in the south, a couple inches possible, East Texas, Louisiana, into Arkansas, even 1.5 inches perhaps for Mississippi up in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And where will it fall as snow? Well, mostly in the northwest, into the central Rockies and the higher elevations, and quite a bit, 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet of snow for the high elevations of the west. Surface for today. There you see the west, rain and snow and heavy snow for the mountains. And then there's your severe weather, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. And then around that even, heavy rain, flash flooding possible getting into Oklahoma and Mississippi too. And right there near Memphis. So just be on the lookout. And we see rain this time of year, all the way up into the Great Lakes. Kind of crazy. That continues tomorrow. Then we see a patch of ice possible, freezing rain perhaps, Pennsylvania into New York, as the warm air overruns the cold air and it falls as rain and freezes on the surface. Meanwhile, in the south, our heavy rain, flash flooding possible, continues for Arkansas, East Texas, Louisiana, and the west. Rain and snow and heavy snow in the mountains. And then we get into Saturday, the west, rain and snow and heavy snow in the mountains. Some snow for Colorado, severe weather possible, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, rain all the way into Canada through the Great Lakes. And our patch of freezing rain possible moves a little bit further north into New England for Saturday. All right, let's show our work. We're on the Canadian model today, and we're at 9 o'clock this morning Central Time, so maybe a half hour ago or so. And we already see showers and thunderstorms from Oklahoma into Arkansas, into Louisiana, into East Texas. I'm looking at you, Houston. Meanwhile, our next storm in the Pacific Northwest spreading rain and snow. As we go through the rest of the day, we see our little low here. And ahead of that, our chance of showers and storms, some possibly severe, possibly some isolated tornadoes as this gets us into tonight. Pacific Northwest storm moving a little further south, going into Northern California. Some heavy rain even for San Francisco and some heavy snow in the mountains. Our low here in the south spreading a line of storms through Tennessee and Mississippi. And that continues to progress east as we get into Friday. This is Friday morning, and we see some heavy snow here in the mountains of Idaho. And then as we continue, there's a little light snow here in Utah, moving into Colorado, Wyoming too. And we see our thunderstorms persisting from near Nashville through northern Alabama into Mississippi. And then as we continue, we got rain here in Iowa, this time of year, crazy, into Minnesota as well. This is Friday in the evening or late afternoon. Snow here in the Rockies, and rain and thunderstorms in the southeast, refiring and lining back up. Alabama, moving into Georgia, eastern Tennessee, a big bunch of rain up here into the Midwest and Great Lakes, and heavy rain from Northern California into Oregon with heavy snow in the mountains in the west. Our rainstorm continues into the Great Lakes. This is Saturday early morning. A few thunderstorms here, but we're going to see a re-eruption here on Saturday of storms possibly severe in the south. A little bit of ice up here Saturday morning. And then here's our snow, rain and snow in the west. All right, as we get further into the day, Saturday, 6 a.m., here we go, noon, thunderstorms, Houston, and north, Nacogdoches, Tyler maybe, into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and a few thunderstorms here for parts of South Carolina into North Carolina and Virginia. Some ice up here in the UP of Michigan into Minnesota and Wisconsin. And as we get through the day on Saturday, this is Saturday evening, you can just see a bunch of rain, possibly severe storms in the south, rain and snow, heavy rain, southern Oregon coast. And as we get to midnight, you just see a southern soaker here. And again, watch out for some possible severe weather with some of these storms. And just a lot of rain all the way up into Kentucky, southern Oregon also getting the business. And then as we get into Sunday, this big shield of rain moves way north into New England, or, the Ohio Valley into New England, and much of the mid-Atlantic all the way down into Florida, seeing rain from this big system. And the Pacific Northwest, a lot of rain along the coast with snow in the mountains. Look at that rain just spreading east into New England, on top of all your snow, if there's any left. And it's just craziness, all that rain moving across the east as we get to, this is Monday morning now. So we went through Sunday, just all that rain across the east and very far north into Canada. But we're starting to see some cooler air enter the picture as we get into Monday. So, and we'll just watch that. So finally, some snow for South Dakota into Nebraska. This is noon on Monday. Starting to see some rain, eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, where I live. And the official forecast is, and certainly the European is showing this, so is the GFS, rain changing to snow for places like Omaha, Lincoln, Harlan, Iowa, where I live. So, we're looking forward to maybe a little bit of snow as that system moves across, and we see some cold air diving in behind that. So a couple days with highs only around freezing here in western Iowa. And we see even more rain ahead of this system for the east as we get towards, this is New Year's Eve. This is New Year's Eve at midnight, so they're dropping the ball in heavy rain in Manhattan, if this comes exactly true. All right, and this gets us into 20. Oh, that was the last frame on the European model. So some exciting things to look forward to. Now that little system moving into South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa, how much snow will we get? Well, according to the European, could be an inch or 2 or even 3 for some. So where I live here in western Iowa, it looks like we're on the line. Well, it really looks like we're solidly in that 1-inch area. So I wouldn't expect much more than an inch, but maybe 2. That would be nice. And, 3 as you get into northern Nebraska, into South Dakota, maybe even approaching 4 inches for some. All right. And then there you see the snow on the ground. Where they had a white Christmas, it's gone for Wisconsin, for example. All right, 8 to 14-day temperatures, getting colder than it's been, but still hanging on to above average temperatures in the west and parts of the southeast with the best chance of below average temperatures, and the above average precipitation up there in the northern plains and northern Rockies too. So Wyoming, we've been talking about you catching up on your snow. So I think that's going to start to happen. So that certainly is good news. All right. Well, again, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in. Picked up a couple more subs. So, the slow growth is very encouraging. And we're going to keep plugging away because I just love weather. And I imagine you do too. So we'll update you again tomorrow right here on the Weather Mic.